Alright YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I want to do a 1-year update on my Sangin Instruments Overlord, which I have previously posted a video on, and if you haven't seen that, I will add a card or link to it down in the description below, and you can go watch that. And that's a more detailed overview of the watch. But this is going to be a 1-year update / progress report on how this watch is doing, what I've been putting it through so far, and how I feel it fits into my collection, and whether or not I really recommend Sangin Instruments to begin with. So, a couple key points here. I'm going to cover the durability of this watch, go over a couple key features of it, and then also talk about the accuracy as well. So, let's get into it. First off, starting with durability, to summarize, this watch looks basically brand new. It looks exactly the same as it did when I pulled it out of the box a year ago, and it is completely unharmed by the things that I've put it through. I've taken this watch with me on a few hikes so far. I've taken it to the range more times than I can count. I've shot more rounds than I can count through my weapons while wearing this watch.
Go, 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 go!
And none of those things have had any noticeable effect on the finishing, the movement, or the accuracy of the watch in general. This watch continues to run very well. The hands, the case, the sapphire glass are all very durable, and it just continues to work like it did when I first pulled it out of the box, like I said earlier. This thing runs. It runs really freaking well, and I'm super proud to be an owner of it. As far as accuracy goes, this is powered by a Ronda quartz movement. I'm not sure if Sangin Instruments has done any modifications to the movement to make it more accurate. I don't think they did. But what I can say is that the accuracy of this is such that it is within a range of -10 to, I believe, +20 seconds a month. So as far as quartz watches go, that's pretty dang good. And in my experience, this watch does tend to run slightly fast, which I believe is actually preferable, because the thing with having a watch that runs slowly is that if you do not adjust it over a period of time, eventually the watch will be so out of range that if you are dependent upon it in order to be on time to appointments or make meetings at a certain time, you're going to be running late. But if you have a watch that runs fast, you'll always be either on time or early to your appointments. And that, to me, is a decent advantage of this watch. I don't think that's intentional, and honestly, that could vary from movement to movement. But for me, and in my experience, I've noticed that this watch runs slightly fast, and I don't have a problem with that at all. I just manually adjust it whenever it gets, I would say, more than 30 seconds out of range. As far as quartz goes, I do believe that that also lends itself to the durability of the watch, because the thing with automatic movements and taking them into high stress, high shock environments is that even though there are some automatic movements out there that are built to withstand various amounts of shock, like Omega movements, Rolex movements, so on and so forth, there is always that risk of exposing your automatic watch to too much shock that could then cause damage to the small components inside the movement. And with this quartz-powered watch, there's a lot less components inside of the movement. There's a lot less things that can easily break. And for me, again, in my experience, I have not experienced any parts breakages or had to worry about any of the components within this watch coming out of tolerance. So, and that extends to the spring bars. I've had 0 spring bar failures on this. I haven't lost any straps yet. The watch hasn't come flying off my wrist. Again, the finishing is still perfect, and it is still very, very accurate, to sum up. Lastly, as far as the overall watch is concerned, if you didn't watch my previous video, the design behind this watch is pretty interesting, or at least the story of it is, because when Sangin Instruments was designing this piece, I believe they went to about 70 members of the airborne community, and they asked them to write up essentially a wish list for what the perfect watch would be for their mission set. And this is what they came up with. This is a field watch, essentially. So smooth bezel, time only, very uncomplicated, but it also has the addition of a GMT complication there, as you can see from the orange hand. That orange hand on the inner chaptering of the dial is a GMT complication. So for me, I find that to be really useful because I'm able to track the time zones of my family, my girlfriend. I can see what time it is over there in those places and know when it is suitable to talk to them. I think that's probably the most common use for a GMT nowadays. Because even though I do a fair amount of traveling, I don't always take my GMT watches with me, and I don't always need to know the time and the destinations that I'm traveling to, especially if I don't go there frequently. I think it's more practical nowadays to utilize a GMT watch to track the time zones of your family, your relatives, or people that you care about, if they live like in a different time zone. That's how I use mine. How you use your GMT watch is really up to you, but I find that the GMT complication to be one of the most useful complications in watches in general, and I'm really glad that this watch has that functionality. Overall, this is just a standard, well, not really that standard, but this is your like no-nonsense, down-to-earth field watch with a really, really smart upgrade, a very sleek design that is nonchalant, inconspicuous, and will not be noticed. And for me, I put it on this really like stealthy, murdered out black leather strap from Anti-Watch Watch Club. And I personally cannot recommend this watch enough. The only thing that irritates me and a lot of other Sangin Instruments customers is that the watches that they drop come in limited amounts. So if you're not paying attention to Sangin's website, if you're not paying attention to their social media and following when they're going to be doing their product drops, then if you're trying to snag one of these or any of their other watches, you might actually miss out on their drops, because they have a very tight community of followers who are always soaking up the products, and I've seen their product drops completely sell out in like 30 minutes or less. So this year, I think the company is really committed to ramping up production. They sent out an email to all their customers. They're going to try and ramp up production more, get more things in stock. So if you get the opportunity to pick one of these up, I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're an active person who really likes to put their watches through the ringer and test the capabilities and the limits of their timepieces. Overall, I love this watch. I'm really proud to be an owner of it. It's held up perfectly, it looks brand new, and it's a super badass piece. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.